Sure, there's my slides. Thank you. So yes, I'm Celina. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Zindi. I first wanted to introduce you to someone very special. This is Darius. Darius is in Kenya, and he's a data scientist. In fact, he's one of the top data scientists on the continent. But you'd be surprised to know that his journey to data science and machine learning wasn't always an easy one. 6 years ago, armed with a degree in economics, he got his first job in customer service at a bank outside of in a small town in Kenya. And after many years of working in customer service, he actually decided to take a leap of faith and pursue his dreams of a career in data science. He got certificate after certificate, he did boot camps, but he still struggled to find his foot in the door and find that first opportunity to really apply what he's learning in his first job. But then he found Zindi, and since then he's been changing the world. Through Zindi, he's helped build an algorithm to predict flood in Malawi. He's helped build a mental health chatbot for university students in Kenya. And he even won a competition to predict air pollution levels, hour to hour, day to day in Kampala, for which the organization in Uganda actually hired him for his first job to help implement the solution that's now live on a public dashboard. So Darius, over these years, has worked his way up the leaderboard, all while teaming with people from around the world to build impactful machine learning solutions. He even has become a mentor on the platform. And eventually he was starting to attract the attention of top employers across the continent. So now 2 years later, after taking that first leap of faith and leaving his job in customer service, today he's back working at a bank, but this time as a data scientist. At a job that he found through his connections at Zindi. And when I talked to him recently, he told me that he's been using the things that he learned on Zindi every day at his job. So I tell this story because I suspect that many of you out there can relate in some ways to Darius's story. We all know that the road to building your skills, to applying them, to finding that foot in the door to your first job is not always an easy one. And so that's why we actually created Zindi. Zindi is a two-sided marketplace for data science solutions and talent. Companies, organizations with data, be them companies, nonprofit organizations, governments, startup companies, come to Zindi to find the right solutions and talent that they need to make the most of their data. And for data scientists, they're able to enter challenges to solve real world problems for real clients. They're able to also access valuable learning content and mentorship through the platform. And as well, with a click of a button, they're able to apply for jobs and attract the attention of top employers across Africa. So today I wanted to focus a bit on some of the examples of some of the impactful machine learning solutions that our community has helped to build. So it's estimated in Kenya that about 150,000 young people are physically or sexually abused every single year. We were approached by Childline Kenya, which is the national child protection hotline in the country. And you can imagine that they're fielding hundreds of thousands of calls every single year. When I talked to Martha, who's the executive director at Childline Kenya, she told me, Celina, we just don't have enough resources, in order to handle all of the calls that we get. So what we just did with Childline Kenya is run a challenge on the platform to help Martha predict hour to hour, day to day, how many calls would be coming in. What we did is we provided our community of data scientists with call details for the first 7 months of the year, and we challenged them to use their algorithms to then predict the call volumes per hour, per day for the next few months. And you can see that there's a lot of noise in the data, seasonality throughout the year. And what was exciting is that the winning solution was actually able to mimic quite well the realities of the patterns in the calls. So this has now allowed Childline Kenya to help maximize the impact of the few resources that they do have and staff their call centers efficiently. And also what was really exciting is that the winner of this challenge was a university student in Nairobi, and he was actually hired as an intern because of his performance here. Second, another example of a competition we ran was in South Africa. So now South Africa has over 1 million roadside accidents every single year. The country has one of the highest fatality rates in the world. So we worked with SANRAL, which is the South African National Roads Agency, in partnership with Uber to run a challenge for them to help them predict roadside accidents in the major highways in Cape Town. They collect data from every single accident, the location, the time of when the accident occurs, to when it's called in, to when the first responders arrive on the scene, until when the accident is cleared. And what SANRAL explained to us is that window of time between when the accident occurs to when the first responders arrive on the scene is the most critical window. Every second counts in that window. Every second is the difference between life and death. So we ran a challenge on Zindi where we took the entire highway system in Cape Town and cut it up into 500-meter chunks. And we challenged our data scientists, our community, to build machine learning models to predict the next accident within an hour, within a 500-meter radius. This took into account things like weather, traffic patterns, and other predictors like that. And what was really exciting is that the solutions for this is now in the hands of SANRAL, where they're using that for their dispatch center in order to help them position their first responders throughout the city. And one final example, and this is not an example of a competition that we've run, but one that is coming up, so watch this space, is in partnership with Local Ocean Conservation, which is a nonprofit organization in Kenya. They over the last 20 years, they have literally rescued over 10,000 sea turtles that get trapped in fishing nets and fishing lines. One of the things that they do is they register each of the sea turtles that they rescue. And as most sea turtle conservation agencies do, they use flipper tags, which is the tagging system to identify sea turtles. And tags are not only expensive and unreliable, but they're also quite dangerous to the sea turtle's health, especially ones that have already been injured. These can cause skin diseases and additional illnesses. So Local Ocean is very interested in developing an algorithm where they could actually use the patterns that are on the side of the sea turtle's face, almost like a fingerprint, to identify unique sea turtles and register them as they come in. We'll be running this competition. It'll be launching in the first weekend in October in partnership with DeepMind. So we're really excited to see the solutions that come out of this challenge. So going back to Darius's story, the question that we have is, how do we make machine learning skills, careers, data sets, problems more accessible to everyone in Africa? Ultimately, how do we make Darius's story a story that can be for everyone? So the good news is that it's already happening. On Zindi, we host a community of nearly 30,000 data scientists and aspiring data scientists, data enthusiasts from Africa and from around the world. So I would invite all of you, whether you are new to the field or consider yourself an expert, whether you are looking for new challenges, looking to meet new people, or looking to build your career. I would invite all of you to join Zindi and join a community that is changing the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Celina. I imagine there are many more stories very similar to Darius in terms of development into from where he was to where he is now, right? And the question I have is, what is the level of participation of like African nations within the Zindi community?
Right. So like I said, we are nearing at 30,000 users right now, and 70% are on the continent. We have registered users from 45 countries out of the 54 on the continent. But I think what's also exciting is that other 30% are from across the world, from Europe, the United States, as well as Asia, Latin America. And I think it's also become a really exciting melting pot of ideas and cross-pollination of ideas and skills.
Thanks very much. We have another question from the audience. Do you have strategy to collaborate with universities to incentivize students to participate more into the data science competitions and hackathons?
Yeah, the universities are such an important part of the community at Zindi. We run a hackathon, Umoja Hack Hackathon, in March of every year. This past year, we had, I think, over 1,000 students participate from 122 universities across the continent. It's really the only event of its kind. It's totally virtual. It's open to all university students across Africa. And we've had just amazing stories come out of this where people build their first machine learning model at this event. So every year we're hoping to make this an even bigger event. And I think just in general, what I'd want to say is that this is a really exciting time on the continent. This is,
Only a jingle?
what we found.
Okay.
What we found through the universities is that people are coming from all different backgrounds, and that's something that we want to support, is people coming from engineering to science to business backgrounds, all coming to the Zindi platform to hone their skills in machine learning.